course, Leo Deads and Henningsen, the front line that makes up Orgless and Hungry. Oh, watch out for that train there, cameraman.
Ooh.
Goodness gracious. It's actually got a
Cameraman scaring us.
And you take a look at Meta and Boger for side effects. That frontline battle, I think, is probably one of the more influential ones, and between 4 players that have a pretty substantial name as far as how Contenders has gone in the past.
And I wonder if Leodez at all, especially if we go to Mecha base on this map, if we're going to be seeing him play the Mei. I know he really likes that Mei, and Orgless and Hungry really like that strategy, but here it looks like they're going to stay with the 3-3, whereas for side effects, they're going to be playing double DPS, a combo that we don't see too often, especially against the Mirror.
Sure don't, but you like to see exactly how versatile it can be, considering you do have that extra frontliner involved, just in case things do go poorly, as you often see with the Wrecking Ball. He can contest for a short amount of time, but Henningsen will find first blood. That'll happen onto Sab. That's not what you want to see for side effects. And immediately after that, all that extra sustain means that the Mercy has to be all over the place. And not only will Spoxes also fall, but the rest of the team will have to fall back.
A really nice dive from Henningsen, as well as Kagasi. They were able to get into the back line and just basically insta-give Sab off of that Ana. I'm going to make this swap over to the Zenyatta, so they're going to take a little bit more of the 3v3 mirror, got off the DPS. But unfortunately, Orgless and Hungry is in the lead when it comes to ultimates because of all those swaps that side effects have had to make.
Ruby already has the Coalescence, and that's going to come out immediately, and there's going to be hopefully some aggression behind that. Sab will fall again very early. Spox is also being taken down, so the support line left staggering after that. It would be a pin, though, at least for a small moment under Berling. He'll survive it, no problem, and a little salute from Henningsen as they get to above 35%.
And side effects are going to be in the hole for a lot of the next couple of fights coming in. They're not going to have the advantage with the support ultimates. They're not going to have the advantage with tank ultimates either. Berglund is pretty close towards this Graviton. If he's high enough charge, he's going to be able to fire pretty quickly, but he's not that high charge, only really 30 or 40.
Tang, as soon as he gets the Sound Barrier, will drop it open. Self-destruct sequence just behind, but it doesn't quite get past the shield of Boger. So can side effects fight from behind this corner? Literally backs up against the walls, rather. Comes down to what will be used next. Berglund does have a Graviton Surge. Will he look to possibly put it down? Looks like he sure will, but it'll be eaten immediately by Meta. So now all of a sudden a turnaround effect for side effects as they do find the Earth Shatter from Boger. And it looks like that will be enough to find the first bit of eliminations. Now with the Primal Rage coming into play for Henningsen. Leoded's actually able to stay mech'd as well, was very huge. So as the respawn comes back in, we'll be looking at 6 on 5 as Foxes is taken down. Transcendence forced out for side effects. A lot of more ultimates still in the tank for side effects. They're not using them yet. Now finally Frost will drop down on top of his own Graviton Surge. The damage is appreciated from Sab, who's able to hit 2 headshots. It looks like side effects will finally put enough force to hopefully turn this one, but still have to get through a couple of frontliners, and the Coalescence coming out for Ruby might actually keep things installed for a little bit longer, but it should flip here before too long, but it wasn't before 99% was found for Orgless and Hungry.
Yeah, so this is one last fight territory for the side of Orgless and Hungry. They win this last fight, they're going to get in. I think Ruby maybe just a little bit too over-aggressive with that Coalescence, but he's going to be switching actually over to the Zenyatta, so nothing really value was lost there. And Orgless and Hungry coming into this next fight, they do have the Graviton advantage, so look out for that. But they're on the other side, both the support ults are going to be available for side effects.
Rally used first for Spoxes. He will get him and he's stunned. Boger looking to set things up in his back alley will drop the Earth Shatter, but it doesn't really find as much follow-up simply because that is just a tight alleyway, and there was the Sound Barrier used for Orgless and Hungry. It's still 6 on 5 favoring side effects, though, and they seem to be happy enough with that as they've pushed back Orgless and Hungry, so they'll just reposition themselves and look to continue to find the capture percentage.
Side effects, though, did use both their support ultimates in that last fight, so a lot was committed just for that last fight in that enclosed area, and Orgless and Hungry are going to be coming back not very topped up on their ultimates as well, so a lot of these fights are going to be vanilla fights. We'll see if any of the divas can get maybe a kill with these self-destructs.
Manahan maybe setting one up as he's just getting himself in the low ground, a little bit behind where Boger is positioned, and he's holding a tight corner. He's got himself back to 71% for another Earth Shatter. Henningsen also looking for one. He's already half HP, though. We'll drop one, and he gets immediately taken down. Frost put in the Graviton Surge right in front of his face, and side effects, they'll turn around this fight once again.
And Henningsen, not with my favorite ultimate ever there with that Earth Shatter. He was really low, already had the Discord Orb on him. Kind of a desperation Earth Shatter coming out from Henningsen and got blown up almost immediately. And side effects have come back into this fight with a lot of good ultimate charge. They kind of reset the ultimate rotation between both teams, and now they're the one in the lead. Ultimates for the side of Orgless and Hungry, they're going to have both of their support ultimates, and only side effects are only going to have the one from Sab, so advantage here for Orgless and Hungry.
See if they can make full value out of it. Henningsen getting taken down very early once again, very low HP. Will find himself in charge. That will be enough to take down Boger. Ruby in the Transcendence just to keep Orgless and Hungry involved. 99 to 99 on the percentage marks. Overtime in effect. Leo Dead's up top, looking for an opportunity just to keep putting some funnel of damage in, and he will find a lot of it into the Brigitte player of Side Effects. That was Spox as he will back up. The rally utilized. Leo Deads will have to bail out of the mech. Point will be flipped in favor of Orgless and Hungry. Sound barriers for both teams. Henningsen again trying to get himself involved. Frost will find the Graviton Surge though, just as Henningsen pulled the trigger, and Frost damage. It is absolutely great. 90% plus charge. Side Effects will flip this point back once again in their favor, and this likely should be all that they have to say about downtown.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to get back onto the point here, even the desperation swap to the Hammond. And in that last fight, you saw really the advantage of having Graviton when the other team doesn't. It's just a hug of death, especially with how charged up Frost was on that Zarya, doing a lot of damage, and Berglund not really giving the same value out of his Gravitons. We saw one get eaten, and the other one that he had didn't really get that much value as well. So the difference in Zarya's here in this first map, and Side Effects brought it back all the way from 99 to 0.
And, you know, not only just the Zaryas, we haven't seen too many instances, but you pulled up that you saw one of your most, well, not your most favorite ultimate out of Henningsen, and you take a look at the difference between the both main tank players. Boger has had a little bit more discipline when it comes down to making sure that his Earth Shatters are realized for at least a stun or two. Henningsen, notably, has been a little less, I guess, applicant when it comes to his Earth Shatter. He does like to pull those out kind of at half HP when the fight is about halfway through, so we'll have to keep an eye to see if that does ever change. But we will be seeing Wrecking Ball on Wrecking Ball, a little gerbil on gerbil action to start things off here in Sanctuary.
Yeah, and interesting actually that Side Effects has opted to take the Wrecking Ball instead of the D.Va here, trying to go for the 1v1, as you mentioned. Orgless and Hungry bring out this triple DPS composition here. I'm going to be looking out for Kagasi to see what he can do on the Sombra. And actually, Side Effects is going to take a mirror a little bit. They're going to be moving over to a 2-2 comp, but Orgless and Hungry already have this point, so Side Effects is going to be on the back foot right now.
Double sniper setup as well for Orgless and Hungry. Talk about things that are strange. We don't normally see that on Sanctuary, but giving a go of it, and I can't say I've seen Leodeds play Ashe yet. You've of course seen Berglund pull out the sniper a couple of different times, and well, he'll be the first blood actually as we mention him. So now it just comes down to a 6-on-5, and Side Effects, they've got the numbers in their favor and the more prominent front line at the moment as well. And they will flip this point back in their favor. Took them a little bit to contest it, but oh, well, nice little turn there from Leodeds. We'll take that one, thank you very much. But the point, as I mentioned, did get flipped in favor of Side Effects, and Boger is also on top of the support line, which are things that you do not like to see if you're a fan of Orgless and Hungry.
Yeah, a little bit of an interesting rotation there coming out from Orgless and Hungry, flanking all the way around towards the back and kind of giving up a lot of position on the point that Side Effects was happy to take, and then the kills came in for Side Effects and they're able to continue to take the percentage off of this point. Orgless and Hungry, Henningsen going to switch over to the Reinhardt, and I think they're going to be switching over to a more Goat Shell here, bring out the Zarya as well, keeping the sound barrier, or they're actually not going to keep the EMP, they're going to keep Leodeds on the Ashe, have that Bob ready, and have that to try and sustain on this point.
We'll see if we can make Bob do something here. Frost trying to sneak his way around. Out comes the Bob. In goes Frost as he did find Ashe. And oh my goodness, that was one heck of a clip from Frost. All of it ringing into the dome. He will be taken down by a shield pass and a rocket whip. And now Kagasi looking to move on forward as Orgless is here with numbers. EMP, as you mentioned, coming through, but not really finding as much as I'm sure that they wanted from that. And it looks at this point should flip back in favor as soon as they clean up our last couple of players on point. That was Sab without Fade. And so it will stall at 64% for Side Effects.
And I'm really glad that Side Effects has actually decided to swap their composition over. They put Frost back on the Zarya, not keeping the Tracer just so you can get that Pulse Bomb. Pulse Bomb's not going to get a lot of value against this composition coming out from Orgless and Hungry. So really nice presence of mind to keep that to have that switch going, because we saw in a couple of other matches today, you keep that Tracer and try to get something done, but against Brigitte, you're just going to get bashed and killed.
Henningsen, again, take a look. There goes the sound barrier. Now he'll drop the Earth Shatter, and it finds a lot right in front of him. And fortunately, Berglund has enough charge to convert, even though Meta is able to thrust through Henningsen's last bit of life pool. Boger also very low on HP, but will be able to retreat behind his shield towards the support line for his time, though. Berglund actually kind of pulled a mini pinch there as he came from the left-hand side respectively, and he's cleaning up all of this. Oh my goodness gracious. Able to find himself into the back line. Now just comes down to taking down the pilot D.Va, which he'll be able to do successfully. Orgless and Hungry looking to make a go here at Sanctuary.
And Berglund is supercharged right now. Frost only 40% towards his Graviton, and with 77%, Orgless and Hungry really need to just win one last fight for them to be able to take this point. And Sab is really the one that you're going to be looking out for. He needs to get this Transcendence before the grab comes out.
Let's see if he can get there. Ruby also, speaking of Transcendence, is just at 75% of that charge. Berglund looking for an opportunity to put down the grab. It's just minding his business right now just behind this Tycho. I'm actually taking a lot of damage, getting poked out pretty nicely, just sitting at 120 HP for a lot of that. Self-destruct sequence being pushed through. Graviton Surge comes in, but Ruby, he falls just before he can get the Transcendence charge.
Nice charge.
What a nice pin that was, as Leonet's able to convert off the back end of that pin coming out of Henningsen. That's a double kill there. Berglund again near full charge. He's going to be doing so much damage, and there's just not numbers here at all for Side Effects. They're trying their best to delay, but this will likely be a DMAC and a full conversion of the point, as it is still in favor of Orgless. 99% overtime starting to fade away, and we will be heading to Becca base.
A nice ult combination from Orgless and Hungry at the end there, and Berglund was just so super high charged. We talked about it in the first map where Frost was the one who had the advantage on the Zarya for most of the time, and this time Berglund high charged, not getting killed a lot of the time. They got him relatively low for a lot of the times, and they had to use some resources to try and get him, but unfortunately they weren't able to confirm the kill, and now we're going to be going to Mecha base. I expect Leoda is 100% to play Mei here.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because he has been notably switching to Mei whenever she is even remotely viable. I'm actually kind of surprised we didn't see him pull out the Mei on Sanctuary. He's done it before.
Yes,
but obviously Mecha base is a lot more comfortable for Mei.
Yeah, and the Mei, really the thing that it gives you here is that ability to wall off enemy teams. There's a lot of these closed corridors and a lot of chokeholds that you can use that wall to try and get some separation, kill the people who are separated, and then you can win the fights from there. So look out for Leodes. Once Orgless and Hungry win this first fight, or if they win this first fight, for them to try and set up and play aggressively into the spawns of Side Effects.
Honestly, I would be willing to even go as far to say Leodes has probably played the best Mei in EU Contenders trials that we've seen so far.
I would agree. I would agree with that. I think he's just it's a comfort pick for him. We've seen him play it on maps that it might not even be that viable to be said, but he likes that comfort pick, and that's a really nice wall there from him to start out.
Making the front line sweat just a little bit of Side Effects with all of that ice in front of them. Kagasi able to take down Spoxes, so all of a sudden a 6-on-5 Boger. Oh my goodness, another good wall. Boger was trapped completely. Leoned was getting low, put himself into the ice block, and now it's just Icicle hunting from here. Looking to track one down on a Sab. Not going to get it, but it will be good enough for DMAC and Orgless and Hungry. They're going to start up in control of our first point here on Mecha base. Yeah,
and these walls from Leodes are so good, not only just for sectioning off the team, but for stopping damage. You see there, he was able to wall off Frost from doing any damage to the rest of his team, and now Orgless and Hungry have a huge ultimate bank for this next fight. Frost not even 35, not even 40% towards his, whereas Berglund at 75.
Another wall attempt, but Side Effects, they smoked themselves all the way together, and that will be enough to get them on the point as a collective unit. Now we're just waiting to see what comes out next. Blizzard is available. Henningsen also with a shatter as we go overhead, and a little bit of a flash of the shield from Boger, but a wall will be nicely found. Boger looking to respond with a shatter of his own, knocking to the final. Graviton Surge now with the combination of the Blizzard, and that's good for 2. Berglund with the damage to clean it up, and now we're going to see a very frozen robot. Oh, but it's not before Spoxes is able to just whip right through him, actually. But the number's still good for Orgless. They'll hold on to the point, and this will surely get to about 70% before we see potentially another contest from Side Effects.
And I really like that Orgless and Hungry decided to use the combination of the Mei and the Graviton as well. That's a combination you always want to see. You never want to throw out Mei Blizzard really just by itself. If you get the people in the hug of death that is the Graviton, then you throw out the Blizzard. It's guaranteed frozen people and almost guaranteed kills at that point, unless there's a Transcendence on the other side. A fantastic wall there from Leo.
Yeah, great wall, and it's actually Spoxes to find first blood this fight. The only ultimates available are support ultimates for Orgless and Orgrim. They're going to need him there. 6-on-5. Henningsen, he's charged up a shatter now. Will he drop one? Boger's shield is pretty fractured, but not going to make too much of a difference. The target prioritization is good for Side Effects. They take down Henningsen as well as the support line, and this will be a flip. It'll happen at 85% stall for Orgless.
And the wall was really nice from Leodes, and I would have liked to have seen them play Orgless and Hungry play that just a little bit slower. Unfortunately, Kagasi goes in very deep 1v6 by himself, and Brigitte, as I've said before, a very good character, not 1v6 good.
Well, not at least in this instance. I'm sure it's happened before. Is that a trapped Zenyatta set? What are you doing up there? That's a really unfortunate play there. Side Effects though will try to convert off the top end, and they throw the Graviton Surge plus the self-destruct sequence. But again, they don't have a Transcendence here, so Orgless, this is a very easy turnaround, and they're able to find full value. Looks like this will be actually a full-on flip for Orgless. 33% is all that Side Effects was able to generate.
Yeah, pretty greedy positioning there from Sab, especially since he had Transcendence and probably could have used it to sustain that Graviton that was there. And Sab, again, getting very low. He's playing super aggressively out of position. If Berglund was a little bit higher charged, that Zenyatta might not have even have lived.
Lucio will touch first, but immediately taken down was Kave. That's enough for Henningsen to look to move a little bit further forward, not having to worry about the speed boost coming out in response, or Shatter tries to go out. It will stun too, but Sab was able to put down the Transcendence first. Blizzard out. There's no gravity surge behind that, so now it just comes down to can they find some solo eliminations. It was actually a good Blizzard as far as separating Side Effects, and yeah, they stayed disjointed that entire time. Sab will come on back to this fight, but he's going to be one of the last ones left to tell the tale of it, as we will see one more grab being put down, and it will be the side of Orgless and Hungry able to convert off the back end. They will find themselves up 1 map to none.
And that's one of the good things about Orgless and Hungry is, especially on Busan,
hiding in those back staircases, just peeking out, throwing out a biotic grenade, and making life very difficult for the offense. And looks like Side Effects, you can't imagine that they're going to come out of spawn fully with this. Maybe looking for information first, but Boger has put himself on that wrecking ball, and he's actually going to come out with it. All right, see how this goes.
So the double sniper, I think they might keep. No, they're just going to switch. So they tried to get a pick at the start, didn't work out as well as they could. But Boger staying on this Hammond is actually a really interesting pick here. He's going to try and get into the back line, maybe get some nice pile drivers. And Spockes is going to try and pump out a lot of damage from the sky. Not really anything for the side of Orgless and Hungry to deal with him. And Metahan going to be going over to the Sombra. An interesting triple DPS comp coming out from Side Effects.
Very, very interesting one. We don't traditionally see that here, as you can already see Saab is 1 HP. Will eventually be able to get himself out of dodge. Well, for a small moment, Berglund will sniff him out and take care of him. And yeah, this is why you traditionally do not see much of this composition from Side Effects. You're going into a very tightly contested point where, yeah, you're trying to shoot down a lot of damage, but Berglund is soaking it all up into his shields and turning it all into raw DPS. And honestly, you could essentially carry this entirety of this team fight off of just Berglund alone if he keeps staying over 80% charge.
Yeah, and I like that Ruby is actually switched over to the Moira coming back into this next fight. Moira gives you a lot more escape options, a lot more sustain. Kagasi is going to go down to Spockes, but it's probably not going to mean that much. Orgless and Hungry going to keep control of this point.
Boxes does have a barrage, so we'll see if he will try to find an angle, as he's just again floating in the back lines for now. But Boger staying on the solo Hammond. We're just dealing with just the Valkyrie potentially for Kahave, and will be a Graviton Surge used? Question mark? Not really sure where that one was trying to go. There was nobody really nearby, but Berglund will make up for it by finding the Sombra that was close to EMP, so at least some mild success there.
Yeah, Berglund there says, I really don't need this Graviton. I'm just gonna use my laser beam to try and get the kills, and Berglund is able to get Sab. I like the rotations that Orgless and Hungry is making sure Sab can't just sit on the high ground and free farm. They're making these long rotations all the way around up the stairs, and Side Effects, you know, this is they've taken 2 minutes for this fight already, and now is the time where you really need to make something happen. They have the ultimates to deal with it. You're gonna have this EMP and barrage combo. Expect that to get a lot of value.
And you can see Meta, he wants to go right now. He's got 4 players right in front of him. Will drop down, pop the EMP. It'll hit at least 3, but not Ruby, who with the Coalescent Barrage finds absolutely nothing. Dragon Strike comes out. It will head right through the Alderworth Hotel, but there is no vacancies for, I don't even know what kind of a material those dragons are made out of. I was going to say laser dragons. I don't think those are made out of lasers, but Side Effects, they will at least find some success here and at least some progress on the point, but they still have to deal with the Diva Moira combo, which is enough to likely just sustain it for a little bit longer, wait for some potential respawns, and now finally the first tick of progress will finally come through. And with the damage, it looks like we will continue to see capture happening afterwards.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before they take this point. No one can really get back to the point at this point for the side of Orgless and Hungry, and Side Effects are going to take this first point not the cleanest way. They didn't do it with the ultimate combo, like I had said, the EMP and Barrage. It didn't get the most value, but they managed to get it anyways. I'm interested to see that they're sticking on this composition, not moving more towards a 3-3 composition for Streets phase. I might have just cast a curse that though, because they're going back to spawn.
You do that more than just about anybody else, I feel like. It always happens when you call, like, yeah, this would be cool if we see this. Oh, no, never mind.
Yeah.
Feels bad.
I sometimes I don't want to see goats. I want to see DPS play.
I feel you. But of course, the Streets phase mostly predominantly owned by your traditional goats. A big Graviton Surge comes through on the corner, actually pulls in just about everybody from Side Effects, but The sustain is good from Sab, so we will reset this one. Now the sound barrier for Tying and Orgless and Hungry. Trying to move on in. They will take down Boger, and with the Reinhardt going down, this should leave open avenues for them to push right on into. And it will be 2 more picks, as it looks like they will also find Cave on the Lucio before going back into spawn.
And since Side Effects did make their switch, now they're in a very bad position when it comes to their ultimates. And Berglund already used grab in that last fight, is already going to have another one, whereas Frost only not even 50% to his. So Orgless and Hungry really running the ultimate matchup right now and doing a little bit of selfless right now, spawn camping Side Effects.
Henningsen gets shield bashed as he was trying to get off the high ground. Still has the Primal Rage available. Already demacked his meta. And Boger, again, low. And with your Reinhardt always sitting underneath half HP, you really can't do anything. Leoded's will even be able to get himself out before he gets demacked. So an opportunity for a little bit of a delayed hold, although they do lose the Lucio. So as far as sustain ultimates go, they don't really have anything besides the Primal Rage, which will be used. Now it's immediately pulled into the Graviton Surge from Side Effects and will counter with one of their own. Now finally the Earthshatter able to actually find 2. Ruby low will be dropped away. It looks like Side Effects on the back end of those ultimates will be able to sustain their team fight and likely push this payload a little bit further forward.
And that was a really nice ultimate chatter there from Boger there on the Reinhardt. He was able to get Ruby, who was in Coalescence, who was giving a lot of sustain to his team and a lot of staying power, and he goes down, the Coalescence is gone, not a lot of healing available for the side of Orgless and Hungry. Ruby actually going to make the switch over to the Zenyatta, so trying matching the Discord Orb with Discord Orb, Trance with Trance, and where Sav is right now, he's not too far ahead, so Ruby can definitely make up the percentage.
Absolutely could. Frost also trying to get himself near full charge just to help in the damage department as much as possible. Also would appreciate the extra ultimate charge. He's only at 35%. Rally being used for Orgless, and they're going to speed boost in, looking for an opportunity. The self-destruct sequence is very well timed, actually. It will find Leodeds, who threw out a self-destruct of their own. Now the Earthshatter from Boger. He will stun a couple, but gets shield bashed immediately after, so there's no follow-up, and Henningsen is actually able to punish as he finds himself 2. So Orgless and Hungry, with just 35 seconds left to defend, are looking pretty solid here in Streets.
And Sav is going to have this Transcendence, and he's going to have to use it very quickly. Henningsen does go down, so actually, Side Effects does have the advantage in this fight.
You cannot die right there if you're Henningsen. You had the advantage. You just had to stay alive, just back up, get healed, then re-engage. Now Berglund's going to fall as well, so all of a sudden, what looked to be a pretty solid setup defensively, there was plenty of time for Henningsen to charge his ultimate back. Berglund was close to a grab. He falls, and Boger and Spox is able to just move right on in, and all of a sudden, Side Effects are going to give themselves a second stage.
And this is actually some really nice patience coming out from Sab there. He had a lot of chances where he could have tranced to save one of his teammates, decides to hold onto it for this next fight, and now Side Effects in overtime are going to get to this last point, a minute and 37 seconds left, or a minute 27 seconds left rather. They're going to have 1 or 2 fights left, and Leodez going back to that trusty main. Nice wall.
Frost turned around and immediately saw an ice wall in his face, and you could kind of feel the panic for a moment, but now he's able to recombine himself and get back with the Graviton Surge. And a very nice wall once again just to make sure no extra damage should come in. Now the counterattack coming out of Orgless and Hungry. They've got everyone pulled in, but you can already see Sab has already put himself in that Transcendence, negating any damage coming through. Henningsen also low once again. He's got an Earthshatter. And it looks like both teams, after all those ultimates, will just fade back to one another. Boger will be able to find himself a 3-man stun, one of them being on the Leo, which is huge. Not having that ice wall or that ice block will take away from a lot of the distraction that Orgless and Hungry has in this composition, and Side Effects will clean this up completely.
That was a really nice chatter coming out from Boger, getting the 3 key targets in the back line, and now Side Effects coming into this next fight have a lot of advantage when it comes to their ultimates. They're going to have the Graviton, and on the other side, Orgless and Hungry, there's no Diva, so this is a free Graviton if Frost wants it.
And Frost was actually walled off for another small second. Bull dropped the Graviton down, but he was frozen, and Berglund's able to punish, able to find 2 actually, as Ruby was able to put the Transcendence down just in the nick of time as a couple of health pools were low. But it looks like at the moment with just 10 seconds left, the defense looks good. It just comes down to can anyone get back in touch in time.
And there, Frost went way too aggressive there with his positioning. Leodez targets him down, gets him on and that's a really nice wall as well. Diva's going to get onto this point. I don't think it's going to matter that much.
Yeah, Blizzard also being used just as everyone might come try to contest, but a pretty good delay as only a couple of players push through just to try to touch. Boger will come in, but it'll be immediately melted. And another nice wall as Sab was trying to put a Transcendence down, but had to go the long way around, and it just comes down to finishing off the Zenyatta, which they will do so successfully. No full map push here for Side Effects. Orgless and Hungry in the very last second will be able to hold.
And now Orgless and Hungry has the win condition here. Basically, get it all the way to the end, and you're going to win this map. As we're going to have a slight pause here, as they, they just maybe need to go get a drink from the pub, something like that. We're in England after all.
What? Yeah, hold on, guys. 1 second. Just gonna go down and get myself.
Yeah, dude. Come on. You just had a really rough hold right there, and you're like, okay, I need to relax,
take the edge off.
Yeah.
I want to hit this early offense though, the first stage offense that came out with that, the DPS centric comp and Boger playing what was a solo Hammond at one point in time. I mean, we don't traditionally see it simply because, again, the damage, yes, there might be a lot of it, but in tight corridors like that, it just all gets soaked up from Zarya bubbles, and the damage that she's able to put right back out on top of it is just as much, if not more, and then the sustain that you don't have is obviously a problem. So, I mean, other additions to that kind of thought process as far as how that Pharah and Hanzo offense was going?
I think it was actually a really good job from Orgless and Hungry, the way they chose to defend it. They were playing a lot inside of the hotel, not letting Pharah get these easy rockets for free, or the Hanzo at the same time. And Boger can't really get pile driver value when they're all just in hotel. You don't really have a way to get in there. Right. So they were doing a really good job with that. The other thing that they were doing was they were making sure that they were getting, Sab was segregated a lot by himself on the high ground. And they're just like, okay, well, you're here. I'm going to play Brigitte, and Brigitte versus Zen is not a matchup you ever want to see. They run him down, and then they're able to kill him. And when you lose that Zenyatta in that composition, you lose a lot of healing. You lose a lot of Discord value as well.
Yeah, indeed. It looks like this break will be a little bit more of an elongated pause. So we're going to send things over to a break screen real quick while we figure out what exactly is going on in our lobby. And we'll be back in just a bit with the continuation of King's Row just after this. It's their full destination, so Kenobi will switch on sides, and Orgless and Hungry will be looking to finish off the map for a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, and that's really what you want to do for Orgless and Hungry, I think, is you want to kind of put your pedal to the metal here and try and win as fast as you can. They look like the better side so far throughout the series based on how they've been playing with their ultimates and with their team composition so far. What I really like from Orgless and Hungry is how they've been playing patiently. And I talked about it a little bit before we went to the break, and how patiently they played against this triple DPS composition coming out from the side of side effects. So I think if they continue to play patiently, stick to their guns, believe in their mechanics a little bit, I think they'll definitely come out on top.
We'll take a look to see what happens as we get ready to assemble everything forward. It'll be side effects again on defense here, and they tried playing with a very interesting opening on offense. We'll see if they try to come out of spawn with something interesting on defense, and it looks like there very well could be a Symmetra, and we saw this in just a couple days ago, I want to say, on this map where it was an offensive Symmetra though, where you could not going to happen. I was like, there's no way Boger is going to play it if it's going to come out, but Symmetra in practice could be effective because the point is so tight, and if you cut it in half, and you can very well funnel people into you even closer, but it's not going to happen here.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we saw in Al, actually. Los Angeles Gladiators ran a composition that was basically a Ghost Shell with a Symmetra Surefour played in. Did the first damage, actually, ever Symmetra has done in Al, but we're going to see more of the same here. We're going to be seeing a 3-3 composition versus a 3-2-1 side effects bringing out the Sombra. They have to be very careful here because they don't want to get run over, as Sab is already sub 50 health.
He continues to get the early damage, whether it be from a Fire Strike or an Orb of Destruction volley. It seems like he's always the victim of those first bits of damage. But now Boger will be the first blood. Berglund already full charge, and he is decimating everything in front of him. Ruby getting involved as well, but that is about as fast as you can get point A, right on the back end of Berglund, diving on in at full charge.
Yeah, and when you give up this Diva for the Sombra, you have to make sure that you don't get rolled over like that. And Boger got absolutely annihilated because there's nothing to eat those particle grenades that Berglund could just run up and just shoot into the enemy team. So really nice aggressive play coming out from Orgless and Hungry, and they're rewarded with a lot of time going into the second point.
Meta will switch back to that Diva as, of course, we see them moving into the streets phase. But again, you take a look at just where the ultimates are so far. Side effects at a pretty steep disadvantage, but doesn't necessarily mean anything yet, as anyone could get picked here. And you can see exactly how high charged Frost also is on his gameplay from the Zaryas thus far. You can see, again, also moving to the backline was Tang trying to find a boot forward, but no one's going to give themselves available for it. Tagasi, as soon as he charges the rally, will immediately drop it in, and maximum charges Berglund. Try to move on through. He's very close to having himself a Graviton surge, but a Shatter comes through first, and Ruby will also use the Transcendence. So well received so far from the side of Orgless and Hungry, looking to move on in, and nobody has fallen in not anything recently, and it just comes down for me, Kenobi, if who will drop the first successful grab.
Yeah, and there's the grab. It comes out. No Transcendence on the other side, but the sound barrier at the nick of time to save everyone inside of it.
It's like we're synchronized swimming here as everything's being used together, and the second Earth Shatter for Henningsen will find some of the backline. Vogr will try to charge through, but he was very low HP and will be punished for trying to push through at that health pool, and looks like this second stage is going pretty smoothly for Orgless.
It's looking very good for Orgless right now. Berglund is very high charge. Frost not as high charge since he did go down in that last fight, but they're going to have the Transcendence if they want to try and maybe get back onto this point and contest. No support ultimates for the side of Orgless and Hungary, so Side Effects has the advantage.
Has been holding on to the self-destruct for a while, wondering when he will actually decide he wants to use that. A very early Transcendence for Sab, just to save what to be meta from getting demech. Vogr will try to for the Earth Shatter, won't find anything meta hand though. Will take down his counterpart in Leo. Still 5-on-5 as, of course, I say that Orgless and Hungry able to follow up with one more elimination, and now Vogr in a lot of trouble. He's just getting pushed around. Graviton Surge will then lock him in place, and stage 2 will be pushed through very successfully for Orgless.
You were right about that Transcendence being a little bit too early from Sab there. I don't know if he wanted to just maybe engage with that, but it was maybe a little bit too early and not getting the value that it needed. And now Orgless and Hungry just going into the spawn of Side Effects. Again, Berglund's so super high charge right now at 100 whenever we see him. And Side Effects really have to stop the bleeding at some point, because now they have a huge mountain to climb with 4 minutes and 45 seconds to defend. And even at that, Orgless and Hungry doesn't even have to get through the entire point.
Kagasi, barely able to get away, find some support for the back end as the charge comes through. Now nice wall from Leo Deads. What a beautiful wall. Puts the bait into the actual eliminator there as Ruby's able to help out with boxes. Sab again with the Transcendence forced out, not able to keep Metahan alive. Vogr also frozen on the map. This comes down to Berglund. Can you convert? Graviton Surge will slow things down as Frost puts it down, but again, another nice ice wall to keep any damage from funneling in. Leo Deads has been so good, not only on defense, but also with the offensive May. It just comes now down here for who can push through. Orgless able to come on in. Henningsen with the big shatter, but Frost has been missed by that and near full charge. Zarya will find himself too. Sabbath gets himself involved for a double kill. Actually make that a triple. It's at the very last second. Still 3 minutes and 50 seconds to defend though.
And that was a really nice play from Orgless and Hungry. They were able to boot the Reinhardt away and then get a huge shatter, but you mentioned it, Frost was not part of the shatter, and it was super high charge, got into the backline, got a couple of kills, and melted down the supports of Orgless and Hungry. And now coming into this next fight, I expect Orgless and Hungry to try and wait for this Graviton, maybe wait till Leodez gets this Blizzard and then use the combo for that. But Sav, again, has this Transcendence, it needs to be big.
Well, Berglund's been finding so much charge so quickly, already up to 60% just after using one cycle of cooldowns. You'd love to see that. And this comes down to, can he find 100 charge here? I think if you get him full charge, you'll look for an opportunity to let this rip. The Blizzard is ready as well from Leo. Ruby does get taken down, though, without that Transcendence being on the table for Orgless and Hungry. They're going to reset and try not to get peeled away or staggered. It looks like they will be able to retreat successfully.
And I like that Orgless and Hungry did reset there. You know, sometimes teams will try and make it a little bit more, stay a little bit too long, and they'll get pounced on. But Orgless and Hungry does a nice disengage there at the end. And coming back into this next fight, they have the combo of the Graviton and the Blizzard as well, and also a Transcendence and support ultimate. So they have the advantage.
Sab forced into Transcendence very early. All that it took was just the sound barrier for Orgless to face that out. Now it's the Blizzard and Grab combo, and it's good for everything. Meta will try to reduce the damage by throwing down a self-destruct. It does find Berglund, which is a big proponent of the damage, but the numbers are just far too steep. Orgless and Hungry, they just need to take down Meta as much as possible. But again, without that Zarya being here, their kill potential is that much lower, and you desperately need that because, again, look at these respawn proximities. This fight very much so not over yet. Even the numbers still favor that of Orgless and Hungry. This comes down to, can they find the target prioritization? It's just Kahave Laugh. Berglund will actually come back in on the Hammond, and that will be a full push through. Orgless and Hungry take King's Row, and they'll be up 2 maps to none.
Orgless and Hungry looking very clean in these last couple of maps. You know, their ghost play has been really, really nice, really